What's going on, folks? Painless. It's early. I was doing a test and I can hear it in my voice. You know, you got that deep voice, that crazy voice when you get up. But I know many of y'all have been, doing a video this early. What time is it, man? It's like 5 till. But what I had done, I had did a video originally on my laptop, and I don't know what's up with YouTube. YouTube is I don't know, or maybe the video was too long. But I did this video Sunday. It was a good video. I think it was too long, but anyway, YouTube for me, as it's always been, it's been like a hobby. Many of y'all know I've been on here since 2009. And now, guys, people can get paid. You got people this is their job, so they rely on YouTube. I don't rely on any social media at all. But yeah, so it's more of a hobby. I used to do it a lot. Maybe 10 years ago, I used to upload all the time. But anyway, nevertheless, let's get into this video. And I say all that to say because I know it's a little unorthodox or rare that I put out a video this damn early. But it's some things I wanted to say. Like I said, I did this video and I had issues uploading it. But hopefully it'll sound the same. You see what's going on in the landscape, folks, the political and social landscape. And everything's coming to fruition. I mean, let me first say this. I am not a Trump cheerleader. Okay? I just happen to like and see the things that he's doing, and they are common sense to me, and they are ideal. When you got people are talking about all this stuff about D.C. and him sending troops to D.C., the National Guard. Now, what the issue with that is, it's really no issue, but in terms from the Trump administration outlook, this can only be done for 30 days under the Home Rule Act, which gives the president the authority to put troops, which you can call the National Guard up anytime, anywhere in America. Usually it's a state, the governor usually has the powers to activate National Guard troops. So, and then you have the reservists that fall under the federal rules in terms of activation. So now when you think of National Guard, think of the state, Oklahoma, California, Montana. When you think of reservists, which aren't full-time active military, but they're federal. They fall under the federal guidelines. But yeah, and I'm not going to go too much in there, but that's just kind of a brief, rundown in terms of authorship and who can do things and activate things. But Trump, I mean, let's just keep it a buck, folks. D.C., you got people out here, why every time we talk about black folks, they always bring up Chicago, D.C., Baltimore. Well, that's where the damn problem's at, fool. When people are talking about, I see all these news pundits out here, and, this big hoopla about Trump bringing in the National Guard and planning to go to cities like Baltimore. I know Chicago's on that list. We know who is running amok. We know who's running amok. We know what color hue is causing problems. Okay? Now I know some of y'all maybe say, well, them two people, them two young kids, that young couple that was unalived, was underlived by crazy, confused Hispanic talking about free Palestine. And I've said this about, and I've addressed this in many videos in the past. You have a bunch of disingenuous white Hispanic liberals that are part of that Occupy Wall Street humdingle back almost 15 years ago, in which you have a Hispanic talking about free Palestine. And I'm about to get into all these Hispanic and what's going on with Uganda and all that foolishness. It's a bunch of crazy stuff. But yeah, you have, like, Jose, why do you care about Palestine? Oh, well, it's easy to see when he's been, indoctrinated into this way leftist Marxist type ideology. You have, it's like the less fans or the supposed losers always cheering for a loser way across the world, but nevertheless, that loser doesn't really care about you either. But yeah, Trump is. I'm glad he's doing that. And I've seen little reels of small videos. This guy pulled up in a gas station, and he's like, he had all his doors open. He said, I could never done this a couple weeks ago. This is great. So by default, see, and this is the thing with a lot of black folks, you've hitched your wagon to foolishness. How could you be against this? How could you be against a president trying to clean up? What did they call D.C. back in the day? What? Chocolate City? They called that for a reason. Because it's a lot of us. But yeah, how could you be against this? And that's the sad part. You've hitched your wagon to this, to where you've hitched your wagon so far to the left to where common sense, well, if it comes, even if it's good for you, you still won't go with it because it comes from Trump. This like all this stuff about these damn illegals driving big 18-wheelers and killing and unaliving whole families because they can't read the goddamn traffic signs. The traffic signs say don't enter on this off-ramp or this on-ramp. You got people out here getting killed damn near every day by these undocumented illegal drivers. They can't even read damn English or speak it. And I know in my state, in the state of Alabama, it is it's a wrap. If you can't read, if you're not proficient in English, you can't drive there no more in terms of those commercial rigs. You do. And when I was at home a couple weeks ago, I was sitting at my folks' house, and I was watching the news. The news came on, and they did a segment about it, saying, in Alabama, we cracking down. We have cracked down. And they said this law has been on the books for decades. And I'm about to get into that. And of course, yet, you had a Jose talking that could speak English, and usually he would say, a lot of times when and he was a he was a tow truck driver, but he spoke English. He was bilingual. He spoke Spanish and English, proficient in both. Uh, and he said a lot of times when I show up, I have to translate because these guys don't speak any English, and I have to be the translator between them, the 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 harmed party, the law enforcement. I have to be there and mediate, kind of, because these guys or girls don't speak a lick of damn English. You know, and then he went on to say that they come here and they kill whole families. And of course, in that segment, you know, guess who they brought out as the fall guy? As the one they brought out, this old black mammy talking about, so ma'am, what do you think about this? Well, it's sad, that they do people like that. They got to feed, he got a family to provide for. I just think it's kind of wrong that they requiring these folks to do, to speak English. And, there's got to be some other way. And I said, that's that BS I'll be talking about. You had, on this segment, you had the Jose truck driver that was making sense, saying, hey, they need to do something, tighten up. And I usually have to mediate. Some couple random white folks saying, hey, yeah, it's a great idea. But you had this old mammy on here that had to go against the grain, that wasn't making no type of damn sense, and being the father. And I said this, you black folks, y'all keep jumping on these grenades for policies that are detrimental to you. Illegal immigrants working in lower class, which black folks tend to work, these warehouse jobs and these transportation low-level logistical positions, you are always going to be in a frenzy with these groups. And Trump is trying to tighten up. Like I said, these laws have been on the books. That test in the state, in the state of Alabama, that English proficiency test in order to operate commercial vehicles has been on the books, from my understanding, since the late 70s. So this idea that Trump is just pulling stuff out of his booty is false. See, what Trump is doing, he's attempting to change behavior, folks. Just like this illegal immigration and gun laws. All this stuff imaginable has already been thought of, put on paper, legislated, voted upon, and it's been on the books. What Trump is doing, he's taking shit out of the crates, out of the attic, blowing the dust off, and implementing it, doing what he's supposed to do, enforcing law. And I said this, all these states, and I just saw that this morning when I was watching a little world news and local news. All you states that don't want to comply with the Trump administration in terms of things like this, he's going to shut your damn water off. Oh, panelists, what do you mean by that? You know that slab of I-65 between Birmingham and Montgomery that y'all want need repairs? You think you're putting another off-ramp here? Well, if you don't play ball, you ain't getting no money from the federal government. It's called cooperative federalism. You cooperate, you get broke off. You don't, F you. That's how it works. That's how it works, folks. So you got all these states, you got these talking about, oh, I ain't doing that. Well, you ain't got to. You just won't get funded. I said that. I said bull feces runs downhill, rolls downhill. SHIT rolls downhill. And that's exactly what the Trump administration is doing. It's rolling downhill. Rightfully so. I said that about these SNAP benefits and EBT. Trump is saying if you score, if you have an error score rating of over a certain percentage, meaning that you're high in discrepancies in terms of distributing benefits, you're going to foot the bill, Kansas. Missouri, you're going to foot the bill. And you know what the states is going to do? They're going to tighten up and they're going to fall in line and toe the line. And guess who's going to get screwed the worst? The people that are relying on these benefits, because the state is going to get their money. They're going to be like, well, hence the term shit rolls downhill. Trump puts the screws on the state puts the screws on the state recipient. That's how it goes. Who you think's going to be able to hold their water the longest? It sure ain't the recipient, because you're going to need them before they need you. But yeah, yes. You got these fools over here killing families. You had this damn this Sikh or Indian, and I'm gonna tell you the state of America. This is how I know. This is why I try not to be so. What's the word? I try not to be so cynical about this, but I'm at the point to where when I walk around in certain areas, I see why they're in the condition they're in, the stupor that they're in. Because you got I believe this fool has over 2 million signatures to free him. Talking about this dude that made a wrong turn and he got his ass on camera, and I believe he killed some people or severely, he hurt some people because of his inability to read and understand traffic signs and signals and things of that nature. But like I said, and for people to do that, it just shows the mentality in America. But you know what? Trump is attempting to change behavior. That's all this is. And it needs to be changed. It needs to be changed. And like I said, you got all these sisters that lost their jobs, 300,000? And you got this black woman, she's the federal governor, allegedly involved in a scam, a homo, or something where she was basically using an address to get financial gain. It's kind of like when folks used to do back in the day, oh, I'm going to use my grandmama address so I can go to this school, but I live on the south side. My grandma live on the east side. She just trying to do some stuff like that. I say, see, you high-profile sisters out here, like Leticia James, the one who went full steam ahead, her, Fonnie Willis, all them fall guys that them disingenuous Caucasian liberals put up, said, we're going to use them as torpedoes. They're all going down, like I predicted. And I remember telling my mama and daddy about this. I said, all them prosecutors, these sisters out here, these, they wasn't turning down no free meal. Well, it turned out it wasn't free. And now they're going through it. I told you it won't be fun when the rabbit got the gun. You just see Trump got one of those crazy ass um, uh, cases dismissed, and where he was going to have to pay a substantial amount of money to this lady. It got tossed. I remember a lot of you black folks say, "Oh, that's it for Trump. He done." No, you done. You sisters out here with these mid-level career jobs, you suck and win now. All these DEI hires, and I'm not, I'm not wishing that on nobody. But see, you talked all that noise 2, 3 years ago. You talked all that noise. Ooh, they finally got him. They finally impeached. He's a felon. All that shit is getting thrown out. And you're getting thrown out. That's the irony of this. Trump is peeling back all this shit, and he's turning the turret towards all those people who tried to see his demise and downfall. Now, if you're so religious, like a lot of you shines are, and I've heard ministers up here talking about this is prophesized, that he's going down, that Lord, the God don't like ugly. Well, what about now? Trump seems to have the upper hand now, but you don't. 300,000 lost jobs. It sounds like back to DoorDashing and Ubering. Damn near every sister I run into over 40 I would say in the last year, is in some type of financial bind where she can't even afford to date or entertain. So this all highly most educated shit is a myth. It's been a myth, but it is a myth. Everybody knows it's a myth now. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. And they're talking about sending these illegals to Uganda. and see, this is why I don't associate with being African or nothing like. First off, Africa is a continent with over 50 countries in it. But you got these Uganda, and I said this is like putting this is like putting a species in an area where it doesn't belong. It's going to be invasive. So you're going to have these Hispanics from way over here in this hemisphere going over to Uganda. And you know why these Ugandans are doing it? For money. It's why it's always been like that over in that part of the world, But yeah, it's going to be a catastrophe. I was sitting there watching that last night. I said they're going to send these they're going to send Jose and Maria where? Uganda. I said, damn. So, I mean, you put 2 and 2 together, they doing it for money, but that just shows how dumb them Ugandans are over there. They're going to be over there. You got a lot of O'Shea Dookie face Jacksons over there. Going to be trying to be loving on them Marias, them toast-built back Marias, and getting a lot of them pregnant. That's what's going to happen over there. Them lower Ugandan shines over there are going to be knocking up Maria. And you're going to create a whole... I mean, that's just what's going to happen. But, that's tomfoolery. I'm not going to spend time on that. But, yeah, it's a wrap. Chicago, you're next. Have that same energy when them troops is trooping down. Have that same energy. And like I said before, these cities Chicago, Memphis, St. Louis. This is why I don't particularly, when I meet a woman's sister and I hear she's from those cities, I tend not to deal with them. I don't deal with them. Because especially Memphis, because I know your son is, especially if she's got like what they call a YN age, I know you're part of the problem. Because why, Painless? Why do you say that? Well, don't they say over 75 to 80% of households in the so-called black community are ran by who? Exactly. So their part, I've always said this. People talk about black men running out. Okay, we can say that's true. But who's at home? Who's at home then? The woman. Who's out here doing all this foolishness in these sad cities? So to me, that's an indictment on those women. And I don't want to deal with the women. I don't want to deal with women whose offspring are causing the National Guard to be brought to my city. I mean, it's no coincidence, that mentality. And I told her, guys, y'all better leave these type of women alone. They got these YNs at the house. And because there's a lot of guys my age, I'm in my mid to late 40s. You got guys in their 50s dealing with these women with these little demonic YNs that don't care nothing. And the one time you get into it with his mama, he gonna, what they say, up that pole and send you to the upper room. And I can tell you, there's so many stories every day in America about brothers dealing with these women with these badass kids. That's why I say y'all talk about women with young kids. Oh, I don't do single mothers. You better not do single mamas with older YNs. See, when when you dealing with, young kids, they may hit you in the pockets trying to be a stepdaddy. But when you dealing with older kids, older YNs, they're going to hit you in the chest with their 223. Excuse me. But yeah, it's every day or every other day, I see a story about a middle-aged brother, 48 years old, getting gunned down because he had a dispute with his girlfriend and her YN or her YN kids. Oh, you talking about mama like that? Boy, I'll do you, boy. I'll do you. Boy, you put your hand on my mama. Don't talk my mama like that. Boy. Bow. So a lesson learned, stay away from women, stay away from sisters that got YNs. It will not end for you. It will not end well for you. And I've told women, I've told people this. I'm at the point to where I'll take a backboard booty woman with nerd glasses on that looks like Daria from MTV back in the day, anytime over a shapely sister out here with badass kids that got edges and tiger tattoo marks all up her goddamn thighs and all over her chest. I'll take a backboard booty, nerdy looking Becky over that any day. And a lot of brothers are starting to realize that. Don't let these women shame you if you out and you got a regular, decent, basic looking woman. Because that's where we at, folks. That's where we're at, guys, brothers. Don't fall into that web because you're going to be miserable. Yeah, she may be thick, but you're not going to be happy It's a lot of brothers unhappy. Do you get you a backboard Maria or a Maria with a little bump? But don't get these. I'm telling you, you shall know them by their fruits. I don't deal with women from Memphis, St. Louis, Philadelphia, Chicago, Baltimore. No, because I know their offspring are the problem. Where did that offspring get the problem from? In the attitude, in the way of doing things, from their mama. So that YN ain't shit because his mama ain't shit. So avoid. Painless out.